Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the IFG Tournament of Roses 2025. It is the 32nd annual, so we only have 25 seconds left to go. Just kidding. It is about the third annual post-COVID Tournament of Roses, hosted by Portland's premier fencing club, IFG. Our first match in the WNBT tournament, we have Juno Harris with Seize the Vor versus Iris Garcia from the Lonan League in Seattle. Now, this is going to be a great preview of some of the fencing that we're going to see a little bit later. It is the same rule set for underrepresented genders. Now, as you can see, both fighters have a second, which is responsible for communications with the director, as well as handling any gear issues, holding on to gear, offering coaching tips. And with me, I have Josh, another IFG member.
Hello there, everybody. Yeah, Josh here from IFG in Portland. I'm very excited to be here with Elliot today on the mic. Going to be learning a lot from him.
And we have an start already. You see Iris Garcia looking very light on her feet, holding a high. All right, quick.
Yeah. So we have our first double hit. You are only allowed 3 before the match is considered a double loss. Now, a double hit is, as the name implies, both fencers striking each other at the same time in the same tempo.
And now, notably, that doesn't actually confer any points to either fighter. It is tracked separately. Like you said, 3 doubles is a loss for both fighters. You are highly incentivized not to double. And all that a double means is that you're striking each other at the same time. Now, that's different than an afterblow, which is included in this rule set, which means if I hit you and get hit shortly after, that is an afterblow. Now, both coming in with a low fool's guard. We have a...
Looks like a strike to the hand from red to blue, but we'll see. Interesting.
So the judge is calling a hit from red with afterblow. Now that is the Lonan fighter. Going back in.
All right. So we have Juno Harris from Seize the Vor coming in with a low guard again. Ooh. Really gauging each other's defenses here.
They didn't call what looked like a hand hit there to me. Now they both look like they're going for that shallow target. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like both fighters are being
extremely
very aware.
Cautious.
Yeah, very aware of the other person's sword, and they're treating it as if it were sharp, which I appreciate seeing.
They are trying to find each other's measure, so it does look like both fighters have received a point each. Now, we're going to get this set up a little bit later, but there is actually a wound system. Both fighters start with 9 wounds. Oh! A little swing around.
All right, looks like a point from red here. Shallow target.
That was a very light hit, it looked to me.
Now, those shallow hits, they can be really deceiving with the amount of force that is required. All we're asking is 45 degrees of movement between the start and end point of the sword for it to count as a martially valid strike. So it is it's really difficult for the judges and directors to make those calls, I think.
Trading cuts from underneath, a very tricky play, but followed up by Iris Garcia for an actual hit. Now, most of these first rounds is going to be a lot of, a glancing blow to the hand. Now, Of course, they're not really looking at the strength of a hit. This is a sport where, you're swinging swords at each other, and there's a lot of potential for injury if you get whacked real hard. So, like you said, a martially valid strike does not have to be injurious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. And also, when you really think about it, the sword itself is a incredible force multiplier. So
Absolutely.
something that, might not hurt so much if you were to hit somebody with a crowbar could be devastating with a sharp implement.
Well, I do have a feeling that crowbars do hurt to get hit with.
Well, sometimes.
Oh, and
Looks like another
Lonan coming
shallow.
out with a strong showing.
Looks like Iris from Lonan is going for a lot of those shallow targets and is trying to pick Juno apart, which
As
is
Lonan
smart.
often does.
It's very smart.
It is.
I've seen the way that fencers from Seize the Vor fight, and if you allow them to get inside the measure and really control the action,
And really
they
seize
can
the vor.
really seize the vor. They are very effective. So it is wise for Red Fencer to avoid those opportunities.
Now you see Juno starting to try and protect those hands, to no avail, unfortunately. She's really trying to go in for a deeper target, and it is just not happening. Back into the action. Oh.
Now this is another point that I think is actually pretty interesting. The last time that I watched Juno Harris from Seize the Vor fight, it was at Seize the Vor's own house tournament, which is the only under 18 fencing tournament in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm wondering if this is Juno's first adult competition.
Do you have any idea how old Juno might be?
And mind you, this tournament at Seize the Vor was only a couple of months ago.
Right. Now, both fencers do appear to be wearing Wukusi masks, one of the newer innovations in fencing mask technology. You
And
can
also one of
see
our
that
sponsors
hard-
today.
And one of our
Yeah.
sponsors today. Big
Yeah,
shout
so-
out to
yeah,
Wukusi.
Thank you, Wukusi.
And you'll see on those helmets, it is a full hard plastic shell, which does a lot to reduce those impacts to the head, prevent concussions, hopefully, which are, pretty prevalent. It is a combat sport.
Yeah. As far as I've seen, these Wukusis have probably been the best innovation in fencing equipment in the past couple of years. I'm very impressed by them.
Specifically fencing safety gear,
Yeah.
especially. Oh, yeah. You can see they're both really just reaching for those shallow targets, trying to feel out measure.
So that was no agreement, no exchange. So they are washing that and engaging again with these same point values.
Oh, a very tricky maneuver from the Lonan fighter, reaching out with one hand. You see the classic Lonan chop there.
They are so good at those.
They
so good.
love them. And they're effective.
They're very effective. There's a very
sport
good argument to be
context.
made that, they are some of the smartest decisions to make inside of a, judicial bout.
They're very hard to defend. It requires you to constantly be maneuvering your sword to defend your hands from those shallow hits, and you just get chipped away, as you can see is happening to Juno right now. Juno just does not seem to be able to close that distance for a valid strike.
I think. Okay. Yeah, they are really playing death by 1,000 cuts in this one.
Now we have a winner Iris Garcia of the Lonin League.
Congratulations to Iris. Well done.
You will note that Juno still has a point left. What I understand is that a certain lead, a certain differential in points, causes the victory to trigger. It appears to be 5 points this year. Can you confirm, Josh?
My understanding was it was a 6-point lead, but that might have been changed. Let me
look like there's some chatting with the judge, with the judge and director. They're trying to suss out what's going on, perhaps. You can see we do have the next fighter in waiting. Juno, definitely a little bit frustrated, understandably.
But you know what?
Death by 1,000 cuts.
That's why we have these pools.
Ways.
That's why we have these pools. You have many more opportunities to show what your training has been able to do for you.
Exactly. So we will see Juno fight again pretty soon. It looks like up next we have Iris Garcia fighting again against Crystal Newton. Coming in quick already.
With those hand shots. Iris is good at them.
Now, you'll see we've got Zach as the judge and the director with the fancy armband. Oh! Ooh. A beautiful deep thrust from Iris.
Unfortunately,
control.
It does look... Oh, let's see.
Oh, and we have Crystal declining the hit, trying to give opponent full points.
All right, now we've got the
slow-mo. You see,
there we go.
Yeah. Now it does look like...
Looks like control to me.
It looks like Crystal may have tapped the head just a little bit, but a beautifully executed thrust from Iris, regardless. Straight to the neck. Ooh. Oh!
Incredible sloss. Well done.
Sloss.
Yeah, that was a slice across the neck. Look at that. It was really good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Planting that sword on the neck, slicing through. It's the score from the previous match. We are working on updating the score. It is the start of the stream. Start of the scream. By
Start
golly.
of the scream. No, that's me later when I'm fencing.
Actually, no loud noises. Okay, so we do actually see a very quick match. Now, the reason for that is that thrusts, especially with control, are awarded 4 wounds, which means that one of those plus another couple of little hits, you're going to see that point differential immediately. Getting hit with a controlled thrust is a devastating hit to your points. It requires you to then play much more defensively. Didn't seem to happen, so we have a very quick victory for Iris Garcia, bringing them up to 2 wins. Now, it looks like we will be seeing Crystal Newton fight again. Crystal Newton is from the Seven Swords Academy, which I think is up in Tacoma.
I believe so.
Yeah, which very close to Seattle, so sort of a sister league with the Lonin folks. And up next, facing Crystal Newton, we have Raquelle Moreau.
Now, for those of you at home who are... look at that.
Very interesting. So we saw like that ribbon cut, little Zverkow. And they're going to call it a double because there was a light hit from Crystal across the body as Raquelle was throwing those. Very point-forward guard from Raquelle, drawing back into a Vomtog, both cutting out of Vomtog.
Yeah, it looks like Raquelle really wants to assert that that upper opening there.
Yeah, looking for some maybe binding action, seeking the blade presence. You could see as soon as she got in that bind, really tried to drive it in, but they're calling it another double. Now, one more double for these fighters will mean an end to the fight, with both fighters receiving a loss. Crystal coming in with a low guard. Raquelle and Vom Tag. Crystal switching to Vom Tag.
Well done.
Now you can definitely see
great
Raquelle
cut around,
going for that bind, holding it there, feeling where Crystal's sword is going to be, cutting around to the head very quickly, scoring the first points of the match. Again, coming into Vom Tag, you see Crystal switching guards frequently, trying to seek openings.
Now you can see that they're both playing a little bit closer to the chest now. They're afraid of hitting that third double.
Yeah.
It can be really demoralizing to double out.
Having doubled out in last year's tournament, it's one of the most heartbreaking things you can do.
One of those memes I've seen in like one of the HEMA groups that like circles around. It's like they call me 007.
Oh, very interesting. From Raquelle, we actually see a left Vom Tag, but still with the left foot forward, trying to open something up, doing something unexpected. And again, we have a left Oberhau from the right Vom Tag to strike that shallow target. Really a much more cautious strategy from both of these fencers trying to avoid that double. Coming in again.
All right.
Now we do have the scoreboard back up. It is Raquelle with 9 wounds still left. That means that they have not been hit. Very slow, very methodical, looking for an opening where they can safely attack. The first rule of fencing is don't get killed. Oh!
Well
absolutely
done,
incredible. Caught Crystal's blade, took it up above her head.
With a stern middle how to the torso following. That was great.
Absolutely textbook fencing there. We're going to get to see it in slow-mo. Let this play out. Oh, just
really good instincts from Raquelle.
You couldn't write it any better. Catching it in the cross guard, raising it up above the head, leaving you safe, cutting down with the middle how, backing out of the engagement, making sure that they're not going to cut you as they die.
Absolutely. Beautiful stuff. Well done.
Can't ask for any better. Now that does mean it is a victory for Raquelle Moreau from the Grit City Historical European Martial Arts Club, which I think is down in Sacramento. That is the club that produces those wonderful poofy pants, the pseudo-hosen.
The pseudo-hosen, that's right.
We might see a couple of pairs of those today.
Great people
do
down
see
there.
one in one of the other.
All right, up next we have Juno Harris again from Seize the Vor against Raquelle Moreau, who you just saw claim a win in the last match. Really excited to see this.
So we do have Raquelle coming off of a win. After 2 doubles, getting a win, sweeping those wounds has got to be a huge boost to morale. Let's see how that carries in. Maybe we see some more aggressive play. If they get more confident in their defense and their ability to deflect their opponent's blade, maybe they're more interested in entering measure in a more aggressive fashion. But, like you said, Juno from Seize the Vor, seizing the Vor means to basically seize your opportunity.
To control the action of the fight.
Exactly.
That is what it is. You are controlling the quote-unquote day of the fight.
We're going to see if Juno can live up to that.
Ooh.
Some cuts. Juno very nimble, hopping in and out of measure. Ooh,
all right, looks like a cut from Raquelle.
Yeah, an attempted ribbon cut from Juno, caught in the middle by a cut to the hand. All right, Juno's going to come in a little more cautious, throw some. Oh! And we see a wonderful deflection up top. That's the little bit of a hanger parry, cutting around to the arm.
And it looks like we have, a bit of an honor play from Raquelle Moreau from Grit City, who did self-call a strike to their own leg. So, well done, and thank you to Raquelle. Good honor fencer.
We love an honorable fighter.
Oh, yeah.
It is hard. There is only 2 judges and 1 director. They don't have...
All right, looks like another self-call from Raquelle.
They don't have the benefit of slow-mo like we do. So they're watching this very intense, very fast-paced action, trying to determine who hit who, and they do an excellent job.
You know, it is really, really hard to judge and direct accurately. I've often heard that a judge who is 65% accurate is an excellent judge.
Coming in very cautiously now. Looks like that morale boost from the last victory has worn off. They are coming
Good coverage.
in.
Good coverage. Good coverage.
And we see just a rhythmic repetition coming back with those Oberhaus, very light, trying to trick Juno into taking a different parry, which looks like it worked. I love how nimble Juno looks on their feet. Oh, rushing.
Oh, yeah.
in
You
there.
can tell that Juno has been an athlete for a long time.
Now, I didn't see quite what happened there, but looks like maybe some glancing blows to the hands that the judges saw. They're going to call no exchange, no agreement from the judges. Both with a point forward guard. Raquelle moving it around, trying to get... Oh!
All right. Looks like a pretty decisive thrust to the body from Juno Harris.
Yeah, Raquelle was waving her sword around, trying to lull Juno into a sense of security, and it got countered beautifully with just a committed thrust to the body. Going again for that upper parry to cut around. Another attempt at a committed thrust. Looks like it was deflected. Juno did cut around. I didn't quite see what hit.
Looks like we don't have an agreement from the judges.
Yeah, no agreement. Looking back,
so the judge is
at
making
the slow-mo. They did both hit each other. Really, that could be called a double, but no agreement from the judges, so they're going to run it back.
Again, brings us back to the whole idea that judging this is really hard.
It is, absolutely. Without slow-mo, even we were lost. Now, of course, with the slow motion, you can see, oh, little cut to the body, little cut to the head, but without those indicators of the noise of the sword hitting either the mask or the glove, it's very hard to tell.
Yeah, they're very small targets to track with the eye, and they're moving faster than, the human mind can reliably track.
Which is what makes the sword such an effective weapon for so much of history.
And is the main reason that we, when we're training to throw a strike, we train sword first.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's
shoot the sword before you follow with your body.
Yeah. All right. Got a little bit of deliberation, maybe a warning being given for what? For force? Let's see if we can... All right. And good sportsmanship coming in, tapping gloves. This is a very friendly sport, even though people are swinging swords at each other.
That is one of the things that I love about HEMA the most, is that even though you'll have people, swinging swords at each other's head for hours on end afterward, you still want to talk with the person who just hit you in the head.
Yeah.
You want to, buddy around with them and maybe learn something, or, just shoot the crap.
IFG, after every practice, goes and gets pizza and beer at
It's my favorite time of the week.
Lucky Lab. It is the best time.
Shout out to the Lucky Lab in Portland.
Absolutely. Phenomenal pizza.
They've been subsidizing half of my calories for the past 3 years.
No wonder you are looking so jacked.
That's it. You know, it's all the pepperoni.
And a beautifully timed from Raquelle cut to the head as Juno came in very aggressive.
Unfortunately, that does look like a double, but we'll see.
Oh, they're calling it a double. That is why the first rule of fencing is don't get hit, and the second rule is hit. Because if you both hit each other,
there it was.
Juno planted on the neck.
You know, I will also say that double hit is not necessarily an indicator of bad fencing. So,
Not
definitely
even a little bit.
don't get that idea in your head. What it is just, you know, a momentary misjudgment on both fencers' part.
Absolutely. And it's often said, I don't know how reliable this is, but it's often said that the closer two fencers are in skill level, the more often they will double. Or maybe they say it vice versa. That looked like a...
That's what I tell myself, Elliot. That's what I tell myself.
I'm not exactly sure what the rule is, but there's some differential of skill that more often leads to doubles. Has nothing to do with either's individual skill, but how they interact with each other. Now, I saw what looked like Raquelle hit Juno in the head, but
interesting, coming in
they
from
called no agreement.
Ooh.
Juno being very aggressive, holding Raquelle to the edge of the ring, reducing that space that Raquelle has to maneuver, to retreat, forcing a standing engagement where Juno really has the initiative.
Something that I would like to compliment Juno Harris on is that you rarely see them coming in with the exact same opening. They're employing a variety of techniques, and it is a sincere compliment to Moses and the rest of the team at Seize the Board for training artfully.
Absolutely. Very Meyer-esque sort of strategy.
Very much, yeah.
Oh. That looked like blow after blow. Raquelle going for those headshots, whipping the sword around. Blue, okay. That is a different call than I expected, but absolutely valid all the same. Both coming in, point forward. Juno holding Raquelle to the edge of the ring, cutting at each other. Good defenses. Looks like Juno is trying to bait a response with a feint and then cutting
That looks like a shallow cut to the hand from Raquelle. Well done, Raquelle.
Oh, looks like Juno hit Raquelle for a shallow.
Interesting. I don't know that I would have called that, but I'm not the director.
We're not the director. We do have a different angle. We're literally on the other side in a seated position. It is, that looked like a double to me, unfortunately.
It did look like a double.
We have a lot of disagreements from the judges here.
No agreement, no exchange. And, I do think that was the right call from the director here, because that would have, ended the match in a very unsatisfying way.
Well, there is only actually one double in this match, so another double.
Well, I mean in the point values.
A very safe, well-executed strike to the arm from Juno.
Well done, Juno. Elliot, I am so happy to be here again. I am having a great time.
It is the best time of the year.
And you know what? Thank you very much for inviting me to join you on the mic this morning.
Hey, it is my pleasure to have you. Great to have a great partner.
What are we?
I don't like to put labels on things, but you can have co-commentator.
I like that. You know what? I like that. Can I be assistant to the co-commentator?
All right, we see Juno Harris
taking done, the win, Juno.
Leaving each of these fighters at 1 win and 1 loss apiece. Does look like we're going to see Crystal Newton coming back onto the field. in the red corner. Juno now conferring with her coach, her second, perhaps getting some tips on how to better fight. Can you tell us a little bit about the value of a second in a tournament setting?
Yeah, absolutely. So the value of a second, they are essentially your eyes and ears and your strongest advocate while you are in the ring. It is kind of it is in poor taste for the fencer to argue or speak to the judges or director during the match, but
dishonorable.
It is a little bit. And that is where the second comes in, because they're a little bit more level-headed, given that their adrenaline isn't being spiked from the combat sport.
Absolutely.
And so they are just, as I've said twice before now, just an incredible advocate, an incredible resource for also strategy. They may be able to see things in the moment that you can't, because you are too narrowly focused on the task at hand.
Yeah, giving you insight into your opponent's strategy even is a big part of it. Saying, hey, it looks like Raquelle is holding a point. Oh, we're seeing the next match start already. Juno versus Crystal.
Right.
It does look like
control.
Juno was able to deflect Crystal's incoming blade, plant her tip in Crystal's neck.
All right. I think if that would have struck the body, that might have been considered control. So that was well done on Juno Harris's part.
Oh, interesting. They called that for a shallow target.
They did. It was to the arm. But I think if it had struck the body, it would have been a different point total.
Blue hit red for deep target is what I heard the director say. So getting those points back.
I don't know that I would have agreed with that. But again, different angle. Well done from Crystal Newton. That looks like a strike to a shallow target, Juno's upper arm.
Yeah. Looks like we do have our near judge calling it to a deep target, but the director... No agreement, no exchange. So they all saw the hit, but they couldn't agree on the target. They don't want to give out points.
Yeah. And there's the value in having an odd number of judges.
Oh.
Ooh, well done.
Interesting sort of bind work there.
Let's see that.
That
there it is.
That could easily be called a double.
No agreement, no exchange
agreement,
again.
No exchange. Fantastic. I do love Crystal's mask decoration.
Very fun.
Looks like the Donnie Darko rabbit. Maybe.
I think you're probably right.
My media literacy is...
Well, here's the thing, Elliot. I can't read. So my literacy is just poor.
Oh, we see an
Ooh.
attempted sword grab from Crystal. Juno doing a great job of exiting measure. And a fantastic parry riposte, using the momentum from Crystal's strike and parrying that.
Let's see this in the replay. There
Oh,
it is.
yeah. Now, that could easily be called an afterblow from Crystal. It didn't look very high quality to me. I would say in an actual fight, Juno wins that 100% of the time.
Yeah, I would not have called that a double, but I would have understood if they did.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things where you're looking for the martiality and intent of whatever is
attempted
happening.
crumpow from Crystal. Juno exiting measure, trying to cut around again. You see that Crystal appears to be much more aggressive, not letting Juno push to the edge of the ring.
Crystal is doing very, very well in controlling that center line and preventing Juno from performing those really, really quick cut-arounds that they are just excellent at snapping too.
Absolutely.
So good work from Crystal. That is very good decision making.
A great parry. Oh, and we have Crystal self-calling. They feel they, oh, no, maybe a
Honorable
gear
call.
check. They seem to think they got hit in the hand. So they're maybe attempting a self-call, maybe just checking on gear. Yep.
Good honor fencer.
And it does look to me like Crystal is wearing some softer gloves, less likely to make a loud noise. A lot of the gauntlets that these fencers wear are that hard ABS plastic. They make a very satisfying clack when you hit them. Ooh,
That
another great cut around from Juno.
Yeah. I believe those are the sparring glove mittens.
Which do dampen that noise, make it harder to know when you get one of those lighter hits, those glancing hits that do count.
Oh,
I did
done.
not see what happened there. I saw both
That
blades go up.
was a decisive thrust from Juno Harris, I believe.
Can we see a slow-mo of that?
Well done, Juno Harris.
We don't
and
have
well
a slow-mo
done,
of
Crystal.
that, but we do see, victory for Juno. That brings them up to 2 wins, 1 loss, and 2 losses and 1 win for Crystal, I believe.
You know, that was a win for the scoreboard for Juno, but on both fighters, just an incredible display of honor and sportsmanship throughout the entire bout. So well done.
Yeah, there's no overestimating the value of being honorable in your fencing. If you know you got hit, calling that out is, self-sacrifice for the sake of a better sportsmanship. You can't say nothing about that.
Makes it a better time for everybody.
Absolutely.
And you go home feeling a bit better about yourself.
We hope so. We hope so.
All right, up next, it looks like we have Raquelle Moreau in blue and Iris Garcia in red.
Thank you for knowing that.
I'm curious to see if Iris Garcia's strategy is going to change up any for the different fencing style of Raquelle.
I can tell you what my bet would be.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I expect to see a lot of chops to the hand, probably a couple of very dedicated thrusts.
Mm-hmm. I've got to say, the fencers from Lonan are some of the more athletic fencers that I've seen. They're very, very fast, very agile, and really good at covering themselves if they find a mistake in whatever action they decide to make. It is a real testament to their intense training methodology.
Now that does look like a solid hit to the head from Raquelle. Okay, but they're going to call that a shallow target. Does look like it might have hit the shoulder. Oh, they're calling that a blow with the afterblow on shallow target. Yeah, Lonan holding that point forward guard. They do definitely have sort of a house style, which you can expect to see. It's a club. They're training together. They fight together. You'll see some similarities, and it works. Coming in cautious, circling each other, switching sides. Nobody really pushing to the edge. It does look like Raquelle is doing a much better job at defending themselves from those quick hand strikes. Not well enough, though. The judges are calling that wounds on Raquelle. again circling. You might not even know which side the fighters started on. An attempt at a thrust from Iris did miss.
I think
but
it hit
they might
flat.
have called that.
I think it hit flat, but we'll see what the judges call.
They might have called that for a slice, even though they missed the thrust.
That is true.
And that is what they're calling it.
That is true. It looks like another cheeky hand hit from Iris Garcia there.
Cheeky, glancing hand hit, which is likely going to end the match.
Gotta tell you, I would not want to be hit in the hand with a sharp sword. Or a blunt sword, really. Now that
I
think
wouldn't
about
want to
it.
be hit in the hand with any sword.
No, I'll
or
pass
a
on
crowbar.
that. Well, what if it's like really gently?
The casinos, they don't carry swords, but crowbars, I believe. Tire irons. So.
Tire irons.
Which,
An implement you're not likely to see in a HEMA bout, but, never say never.
Never say never. It is a modern interpretation, perhaps, of a billhook or a warhammer, more
You know
likely.
what? That's what we're going to go with. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. You have a beautiful mind.
I thank you. You ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind?
No.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's about
It's
smart
about beating people with tire irons,
Oh.
actually. No.
Wow,
It's,
that is on the money. Oh.
it's about a schizophrenic mathematician, and boy, howdy, did it make me sob like a little baby when I was a kid watching that.
I love having a bad time. I'm gonna go watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Any chance to ugly cry is a good time. I think that is the end of this pool. So we're going to take a short break while we reset, and we will be back shortly.
Well done from everybody in Pool 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to the IFG Tournament of Roses. We are going to watch a couple of matches from Pool 4. This one is going to be Kathryn McLean from the Lonan League versus Jay Easley, also from the Lonan League.
Always
Seeing
fun to
two
see.
Lonan fighters go at it together.
Always fun to see these inter-club matchups, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're training together, you're hanging out together, and now you get to compete in a tournament against one another. I could not tell what happens there, but it looks like both judges are calling that a double.
Sometimes that happens just when two fighters know each other's quirks, huh?
Absolutely. Lovely green fit on Kathryn McLean over there. Jay Easley in the red corner and the red outfit.
I like
Very
seeing,
convenient.
like seeing both fencers contesting the center there, trying to make sure they have space to work.
Yeah, probing, and we do see a glancing hit to the hand. Quickly exiting measure was Jay Easley. Clean hit. And funny enough, this director is also a Lonan coach, John, with his fancy hat.
We love to see our friends from Lonan here.
All right, Kathryn staying farther back. Jay holding on to the center. Another glancing hand hit, a Lonan classic.
Both fencers are fighting cautious, kind of staying out of measure, trying to work their distance, looking for opportunities for little harassing attacks.
Yeah, they got one double and they said, no more of that. We're going to fight cautious. Oh, but a very aggressive Jay catching Kathryn on the way in. Kathryn, of course, still committing to the afterblow.
Good work from both of them.
Now we have our scoreboard up. Kathryn coming in very aggressive, catching Jay clearly off guard.
Yeah, Jay barely got out of their starting ring that time. Kathryn, I think, might have found their pace here for this fight.
Absolutely. You talk about that a lot in fencing, tempo. As it applies to, the tempo of your actions, but it also applies to your overall speed of a fight. If you spend your first couple of rounds coming in slow, and one round you come in like a bat out of hell, chances are it's going to take your opponent off guard. You might get an easy hit.
That might have been exactly what Kathryn has been doing here, setting up a slower pace at the start, turning it up now that the exchange has reached its midpoint.
Coming in cautious again, holding the center, a little more aggressive, some good blade work.
Giving a point to Jay there, scoring a shallow target wound on Kathryn, punishing that aggression a little bit.
That is the problem with aggression. Sometimes it doesn't work. Well, a lot of times it doesn't work, honestly.
Oh, a little invitation there.
Interesting
fishing.
guard changes from Kathryn. A little bit of bind work.
Kathryn came very close to landing a very solid thrust there. It looks like they are going to consider whether or not that counted as a deep or a shallow point.
Director is calling it for the deep target. Yeah, I like the way that Kathryn is coming in, changing tempos, changing guards, reaching for that thrust, not quite making it, but they are going to call it a blow with afterblow.
And that is a good enough performance from Jay to keep them in this. They're doing a good job of making Kathryn work for every point, making their aggression scary to keep up.
Jay is on their last wound. One more hit of any kind will be a loss.
Cautious footwork, playing right out of measure, looking for those harassing points.
Oh, now regardless of how the points end up, I saw a very solid thrust to the body from Kathryn on Jay.
Oh, but the judges weren't
we have
comfortable
no
calling
agree.
it. Looks like the director is throwing that one out. That would have been a match point. Here we go again.
I didn't see a hit there. That looked well defended, but they're going to call it.
Both judges agree. A shallow target from blue to red.
Red suffers one wound. That is a victory for Kathryn McLean of the Lonan League and a loss for Jay Easley of the Lonan League.
Good work to both fencers. Congratulations out there.
Great work. And you saw them hugging at the end, showing great sportsmanship. We are all friends here. Next up, we're going to have Steph Brown from the East Side Fechtverein HEMA and Drew Lott from Lonan League. Now, Lonan every year does send about 30 or 40 of their fighters. That is, of course, hyperbole, but it's usually around 10 to 12. They make a strong showing as what we consider somewhat of a sister club. We're definitely friends up in Seattle.
Yeah, Lonan known both for their numbers, but also their high-quality fencers they send down here. I think we have some serious medal contenders from them in the various pools.
Every single year.
Definitely a club to watch.
Definitely. Very interesting mask for Drew Lott on the Lonan League. You see all metal. I know a couple of our club members have it, Zach in particular.
Yeah, all kinds of interesting gear at these tournaments. It's nice to see the different solutions they have to keeping fencers safe on the market now.
Absolutely. And the variety of aesthetics as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, you see blue and yellow puffy pants and a big cut around from Drew Lott. Looked like that blew past the hanger parry from Steph Brown. Blue suffers 2 wounds there. A high guard from Steph Brown. A committed thrust from Drew Lott and an excellent sword wrap there.
Drew's playing for keeps for sure.
Why that isn't a control. Yeah, coming in for the aggressive.
Had to be on their minds. They had to be considering it.
Oh, that was beautiful fencing work. We do love to see it.
I did also like their behavior at the end of that exchange too. Not continuing the fight further than they needed to.
Definitely. And Drew then hitting a shallow hand target, the Lonan Classic, showing a little bit of versatility and techniques. A lot of versatility, frankly. Drew coming out swinging.
And I will note Drew is actually threatening a 6-point lead differential win here on this exchange.
And that should be it. With a tippy blow to the arm. What looked like to me.
One judge declining.
Blue suffers 1 wound. That is going to be a victory for Drew Lott on point differential. Again, 6 points is the maximum lead you can have. At that point, they call it a win.
Excellent work to Drew, but also a shout out to Steph, who gave it a good showing there, did not let themselves get bullied around. Like to see that courage from a fencer.
Definitely, definitely. Now we are going to see Kathryn McLean coming back to face Abigail Yang of the Seven Swords Academy. 2 Washingtonians of different clubs. I think I forgot to introduce my new co-commentator. We have Patrick coming in to replace Joshua, who's getting ready for his open pools. Patrick, how are you doing today?
Thanks for letting me hop on the mic. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Exciting to be seeing all these competitors out here today, showing their stuff.
Absolutely. We see some beautiful gear on Abigail. I hope we can get a shot of that in a little bit. coming in a low guard, very cautious, going for his Verkow. Good defense on both sides. Quick blade work. Really hard to tell what happened there. That's what makes this judging so difficult, and why these guys are, I mean, I got a lot of respect for putting yourself out there like that.
It's hard work.
Better eyes than I do.
It's hard work. I always like to say learning to judge makes you a better fencer, and learning to judge makes you a lot more sympathetic to the plight of a judge.
Definitely. Now they did call that a point on each, so a shallow target with an afterblow.
These fencers aren't afraid to close. They aren't afraid to cut and cut around. They aren't afraid to parry. Parry is a good reflex to have. It can keep you alive in a dangerous situation. And these fencers are generating those dangerous situations with their aggression.
Kathryn McLean getting a clean hit to the hand, lone and special. Coming in the bomb tog. Oh! That low guard backfired on Abigail as Kathryn went for that upper opening. Abigail was not able to get her sword up in time.
Far side judge declines to comment on that, but I agree with your analysis from over here.
Again coming in with that low guard. The Fool's Guard, as it's called. We'll see if it plays out. A couple of hand chops from the lone and fighter. And the judges agree.
As they engage again, this time they're both opting for low guard, circling. A quick flurry of blows, some cut arounds. And it looks like agreement from the judges that red scored the point there, dealing a wound to Kathryn.
One wound to Kathryn. Kathryn marching in, sword on shoulder, dropping into that lower guard, matching Abigail. Something very interesting that I saw Kathryn do was after she hit that cut, she brought her sword down, blocking Abigail's blade from coming back up for the afterblow.
That's really masterful. It's kind of the highlight of what we try and do at this art, covering the line to defend yourself after scoring a point.
Looks like we have the judges calling another hit for Kathryn. Really piecing apart those shallow targets. Oh, going in for a committed thrust, deflected. Series of cuts.
Unfortunately, both fencers had their backs to me at the time of combat, but it looks like the judge and the director were able to understand what exactly transpired there.
Looks like they called it as a shallow hit on Abigail. Abigail sticking to that low guard, going for a crump pow. Kathryn with a bouncy thrust. Chopping coming in. Little zverking action maybe.
That low guard Abigail is favoring presents some obvious disadvantages, right? You're not defending your head or your chest.
But it does look like she scored on a deep target.
Also a very relaxed guard. It lets you maintain your energy for longer.
Oh, a great initial parry from Abigail. Unfortunately followed up with another chop from Kathryn, which is Lonen's specialty. Fooling you into thinking they're going to cut around, cutting to that same side, and that is going to be a victory for Kathryn.
Very exciting match. Two athletic competitors, not afraid to use their athleticism, their speed, their power to try and work the other one.
So as we wait on this next match, we are going to see if we can get an interview with one of the fighters. Patrick is going to go hang out with Kathryn for a moment. Yeah, that was a phenomenal match. Really, you know, you cannot discredit the skill and high speed of the fencing. All right, so it looks like we do have Kathryn coming in for an interview with Patrick. Now, Patrick wore a very nice blazer. It's like he knew he was going to be on camera. And we're going to go to them in just a moment. And we can see Abigail there as well, returning her ribbon.
How are you feeling now?
And what I think is some phenomenal HEMA fit.
That's great to hear. Are you anything you pulled off today that you're especially proud of?
I mean, I'm very pleased with that.
Oh, I started too soon. They're not ready for us. It looks like the camera is on us. So congratulations on a couple of hard-fought fights in quick succession.
I feel fantastic.
That's great to hear. Very exciting matches. Did you do anything you were especially proud of today?
A lot of really clean exchanges, and I was pretty proud of getting to bait out some good openings and nice couple duplerians in there and good spherics. So,
yeah, we love to see it. Elliot, the commentator, was noticing those exact same things. I think you got some shout-outs for that on the stream, so great work there. Excellent work today. Thanks for stopping by for a quick interview. Want to shout out to the crowd?
Yeah, I guess thanks all for being here to support us, and hopefully y'all fight us soon.
Congratulations. Good work.
The Pools
HEMA fist bump.
Open Longsword starting soon. Thank you to Kathryn for coming for that interview. We appreciate it very much, and thank you to Patrick for conducting it. Very insightful.
Patrick, that was a great first go. A couple things to keep in mind.
Yes.
Make sure the mic is on.
Well, I flipped it off when I came back.
Perfect. That's pro. I'm going to give you one.
All right, everybody. We are currently waiting for the open Longsword pools to start. We're going to be taking a short break. All right, we are reset. It looks like we are doing the WNBT Elim rounds.
Yep.
I believe we've got Juno, and Iris. Ooh, nice little hit to the hand from Juno.
Now,
getting in and out clean.
If I heard correctly, Iris only took 2 or 4 wounds in pools total.
Yeah, she was very nimble, very quick. Juno be nimble, Juno be quick, all that good stuff. She hops in and out, not sure what happened there. Looks like the judges are calling that for Iris, a wound on the blue fighter. Coming in again, both aggressive. Juno with that point forward guard, relaxed, hopping in and out, chopping at each other.
It looks like the judges are a bit divided on this one.
Shallow target with afterblow, so both fighters are going to suffer 1 wound. We'll have the scoreboard up for you in just a moment. Ooh, running in, looking
beautiful.
for that thrust.
Hit that floor.
Iris backed out of measure. Juno very cleverly abandoned that thrust, re-engaging, but it does look like Iris got in for a strike to the head. All right, and we have the scoreboard. Melissa, what happened there?
I think it was a pretty clean, just arm tap from Iris to Juno. Let's see if the judges agree.
They do.
Oh!
Another one.
I like that sound.
The old Lonin special. Now, we have another new commentator with us today. We have Melissa from the Lonin League, so maybe able to offer some interesting insights into the training doctrine. That is a victory for Iris from Lonin, by the way. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I'm feeling great. I adore Iris, but I think that was a hard-fought match. It was fun to watch, and yeah, I think I can provide some insight about the Lonin doctrine. We'll see as we keep going.
Absolutely. Now, up next, we're going to have Willow Kowalski from Kulshan Hema versus Iris Garcia, again, from Lonin League.
I actually fought Willow in pools over in Ring 3, and they have a presence about them that was a little nerve-wracking, even from a Loninite like myself. So yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Very intense. Oh, great blade presence. Almost captured that sword.
Yeah.
Iris, great presence of mind to draw it out and then go for that cut, while Willow was still hoping to capture the blade. Coming in a left vom tog is Willow. Iris, I don't think I have seen Iris leave that point forward Lonin guard. Seems to be very common entering strategy for y'all.
Well, I think it's great if you want to save energy. You just gotta have to post it against your hip and deal with what you deal with.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now Willow taking a similar strategy with the Flug guard, a little bit closer to the hip. Switching to Vom Tog, some probing shots coming in. Trying to find measure.
I like this bounciness of Iris.
Yeah, bouncing in and out. Very boxer-like
Oh,
footwork.
look at that.
Looked like a clean, glancing blow to the hand. Still counts as a martial strike.
Iris and I fought in Elims last year, and you could just see the scoreboard. It was 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, because we just kept hitting each other's hands. So that's definitely a comfortable and familiar move.
Very, very common. You see it with a lot of the Lonin folks. A lot of cuts to the shallow targets. We were seeing it in the pools as well. And commenting how, hey, it's a phenomenal strategy if you're trying to win.
It is tiring, though. Takes a bit longer to secure that wound.
Definitely. You're fighting more rounds as opposed to a controlled thrust, which is 4 wounds. Every round is only 1 wound. So we have both fighters suffering 1 wound up till this point. Willow looking very intense behind the mask. I know you probably can't see it on the camera.
Oh.
Trying to twirl that blade in for the thrust, but not quite matching Iris's speed. Iris retreating very well.
Now, if I remember correctly, Colshawn practices Fiore, along with some Meyer and some other techniques. And I know Iris also does Fiore, so it's interesting to see this kind of match of Fiore when there's so much KDF in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see some of the influence of Meyer in Willow's strategy, that flug guard coming up to Vom-Tag, and some of the Fiore influence coming in for those high thrusts.
Sure, yeah.
It's very interesting how we see a modern interpretation of multiple historical sources. And, you know, if I may say, my understanding of the Lonin strategy is a sort of modification of some of those strategies brought into a more modern tournament-focused mindset.
I would agree. I would also add a lot of our coaches have a history with Eskrima, specifically Latosa Eskrima. So we see some of that influence in our longsword as well. Definitely. And that's a living system.
Yeah. All right, a very even match so far. Willow doing a great job, being very aggressive. Iris seemingly doing her best to maintain that sense of measure, but they're catching each other. That did look like a clean shot to the body for Iris.
That is what I saw. They're calling it a shallow target. I get it. It's hard when you come in from the side to kind of decide, is that deep, is that shallow?
Absolutely. We've made plenty of comments about how judging is incredibly difficult. Swords are moving very fast. It is a light speed game of chess.
Oh, no takedowns in this rule set.
Okay. That should have been a much earlier halt, in my opinion. We don't have any agreement on any actual hits, which I kind of agree with. It's hard to tell once you get into a grapple. Swords flying everywhere.
That's hard.
It looks like we have a switch out of swords for Iris. You know what's going on there?
From what I understand, a couple people, I think it's just fun. You know, let's see how this one works.
Absolutely.
I know at least one fighter brought in 2 swords because they were worried the flex of theirs might result in a snap. Yeah. So they brought in a second sword.
We have Willow self-calling a shot to the hand. Honorable fighter.
Danielle Bennett says, my sister made it to Elims. You can see me. I'm curious who your sister is, but congratulations to them.
Yeah, Danielle, please tell us who your sister is, and we'll make sure to call them out when they come out. We do have another hit on Willow.
I think that's a body shot from Iris.
Shot to the body. That is likely going to be the end of the match.
They're saying with afterblow. Think that's still match?
I do. I think that it'll be 2 wounds to... Oh, no, they're calling it a shallow target.
Okie dokie.
1 wound left for Willow. The Lonin chop coming in, seeking those hands.
Hunting for it.
You can see a lot of these matches are very quick.
Did Douglas M. already fight? Douglas M. is not in this tournament. I believe he may be fighting in open longsword, which will be next after we finish with Elims in WNBT, which is women, non-binary, and trans longsword.
Iris again coming in for those hand strikes. And that is going to be match for Iris of the Lone and Lead. Great job to Willow. That was as close to even as I have seen it for Iris. Excellent work to both fighters.
Yeah, it was a grueling match. They both did really well.
Grueling indeed. It is the hard part of those shallow targets. You have to get 9 of those in theory, because this rule set, you start with 9 wounds, 9 points. Every time you get hit, you subtract those wounds. And once you're at 0 or you're 6 behind, you lose. So since each shallow hit is only 1 wound, that means you can be going for a potentially 9, and that's only the ones that you actually hit. Now we do have Willow fighting again. And we have Ashley Levi coming in. Oh, a beautiful controlled thrust. I believe that's going to be 4 wounds.
I don't think the judges are agreeing about control. Oh, one is. All right.
There you go. So that is going to be 4 wounds suffered by, the red fighter. And Ashley Levi is coming from masterless fencing. We have a stoppage while our director consults with one of the tournament organizers just regarding points, making sure that points are being accurately tracked. Both fighters are ready. They're starting again.
Oh, yeah, they're staying just at a measure. Oh, and I think that's a ring out.
Oh. Now, I will say I saw a small hit to the arm from Ashley. They didn't quite catch it, but great pressure from Ashley, pushing Willow all the way out of the ring.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh! A hard hit to the head. Looks like there may have been an afterblow.
The director acknowledges the afterblow.
Oh, looks like Red actually got the initial hit. Willow hit with the afterblow.
I can see a conversation. It may be more informal. Perhaps that's about the power that we saw from that last exchange.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a hard hit. You could definitely hear it here in the venue. Oh, great commitment from Ashley, baiting out that defense, swooping her sword around, their sword around for the shot to the body.
I did see a shot from Blue Fighter to Red Fighter on the head as a potential afterblow, but it doesn't look like the judges caught that. Oh.
A committed thrust from Willow. Looked passé to me, as the experts say. No agreement from the judges, so they are going to wash that exchange. A lot of very quick blade work from Ashley. Great defensive movements there. And then coming in underneath that blade for the middle how while Willow moves past. Really solid fencing. But they're going to call it actually a double. They saw a hit that I did not, from Willow to Ashley's head at the same time. So that is 1 double. Again, 3 doubles is a loss for both fighters. All right, looks like the fighters saw a hit that the judges did not, so they're going to watch that exchange. Coming in again, both trying to claim the center. This is a very aggressive match. Great defensive parries from Willow
I'm
for
liking
the first couple, but a lot of aggressive blade work from Ashley. A flurry of hits every time.
I was just going to say, I think the red fighter is really controlling the center of the ring and moving Willow exactly where they want Willow to be.
Yeah.
Oh, do we think that's a double?
It should be noted that, this is Willow's second match in a row, which means that Ashley is coming in a little bit fresher. You can see it a little bit. Fatigue hits very quickly in this sport. It is a high-paced, high-octane combat sport.
Absolutely.
Coming in a little more cautious. Oh! Willow planting the blade on the side of Ashley's neck, but Ashley getting a hit somewhere in there, I felt. The judges are going to call that a deep strike on Ashley for 2 wounds. Cautious, feeling each other out. Ooh, a committed thrust attempt.
Okay,
captured
presenting
the blade,
point.
planted the tip. A gorgeous grapple from Willow. That'll be a
beautiful.
thrust with control. That's going to be the match.
I absolutely agree. That's control.
Love to see that.
Wow.
Personally.
Oh, I love Stretto. That's one thing about me. Oh, look at that. All right.
And we have a slow-mo replay of this. Let's watch it again.
Yeah.
Capturing that
Wow.
blade on the cross guard, catching it underneath the arm, and just slowly, with flair, pulling their blade back, planting it right in Red Fighter's chest.
Truly
That is the end of the match.
beautiful exchange.
Great fencing from both fighters. I loved Ashley's aggression there.
I agree.
Their flurries of blows as they came in, you could see how it overwhelmed Willow's defenses. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. Willow takes the win. Now we have Ashley fighting again against Juno.
I do
Seven
hope
Swords.
Ash takes that 1 minute break.
Yes, they are afforded a 1 minute break between consecutive fights.
Okay. I saw a double.
Sorry, Juno is from Seize the Vor. I mistakenly said Seven Swords. Silly me. I did not see what happened there. Tell us what happened.
I think I saw a double, but the judges are disagreeing, and so I'm not going to assume that I was correct.
No exchange. No exchange from the judges. We're going to start fresh. Juno coming in with that light, fast footwork, hopping in and out. Looks like got the initial hit. Didn't quite get the parry up in time. I saw an afterblow.
I did not see the afterblow, but I believe
Fair
you.
enough. I've been wrong before. I will be
Well,
wrong again.
So have I.
I love the bright colors of these fighters. Gear.
I saw a shot to the head from red fighter to blue fighter. Looks like the judges agree.
The judges do agree. That's going to be 2 wounds for Juno. Now you'll often see these, another just flurry, chopping the arms, not stopping, not resting on the laurels, continuing to try and take those covered cuts to any target. However, the director called that no exchange. No agreement.
I was just going to say I love that strategy in a sword fight, but when it comes to
course
these
you do.
directed matches, I find that when I hit and I hit and I hit, I think they only see the last one and they go, well, that was out of tempo. And I feel like I lose points sometimes when I keep up those combos.
Yeah, it is definitely, and now you being from Lonan, a lot of your, you have the Sword Squatch tournament, which, as most people know, is a continuous fencing tournament in which you cannot stop after one hit. Now, this is a little bit different. There's a break between each hit. However, in Sword Squatch, you have to exit the exchange. You have to wait for the judges to call. So definitely that strategy is much more important in that sort of format, right?
Absolutely. We do a lot of continuous sparring at Lonan. That's kind of our default. So we see a lot more of those combos and those regular hits, just kind of going and going and going until you're able to safely get out.
I will say I'm glad that works out for y'all, but my cardio is not up to snuff for that sort of fencing. Another flurry from Ashley going. I saw a middle how to the body being the hit. Let's see what the director calls that. They're calling that a double. Nice. Okay, so Juno went in for a thrust, which was parried. Cut around to the side. I did hear a shot to the head. But no agreement on the exchange. The judges saw different things. Ooh. Juno looking for a crumpow there. Ashley not taking the bait.
No.
Deciding to go in for a thrust.
It seems to have gotten a clean hit out of it.
Yeah, the crumpow is a really hard technique because it's very clear what you're going for when you get into that stance.
Right.
That's why it's a lightning speed chess round. You see that somebody's sitting in a crumpow stance and you're wondering, what do I do to not get my sword knocked way the heck out of dodge? How do I get my sword and plant it in? Does look like Ashley has scored a couple of wounds. That's going to be another one, unfortunately.
I'll tell you, I wish chess was as interesting as this.
All right, Juno down to one wound left. Coming in much more cautious. Oh, did not get the parry up. That is going to be match in any scenario. That will be a victory for Ashley Levy. Excellent work from Masterless Fencing.
Cheers from the crowd around us. Great.
And
match.
I just got to say again, what a great jacket that is. You can see some of the gold.
It is
filigree.
beautiful.
I love the aesthetic variety you see in HEMA. Everybody expressing themselves just a little bit through their gear.
Absolutely.
Great work from both fencers. Now, we talked a little bit with Patrick and Josh about doubles and the value of doubles. What I think a lot of people will recognize is a little bit of the historical context. A double was often a person you had during duels, during challenges for duels. You would have a double who effectively did all of your communication for you. And it's very much the same in the tournament setting. But do you know anything about the historical setting? What the responsibilities of a double would have been?
You know, I really don't. I believe I listened to a lecture by Michael Chittister at Sword Squatch last year about some of the historical precedents of duels. And I remember there was a lot of silly goose shenanigans that were involved. And it's hard because no one back then wants to be in a sword fight if they're going to die, but they do want to be in a sword fight if they're going to win and retain honor for their family and their line.
Exactly. It's really hard to contextualize because when we say sword fight, we're just talking about a friendly bout. We're swinging at each other. most likely nobody's going to get injured. Historically speaking, if you challenge somebody to a duel, that was really good chance you were dying that day.
Yeah.
So,
well, you understand why we get the terms like "to first blood," because I don't want to keep going. You won. You can have my honor.
It was often fought to satisfaction, meaning that if honor was satisfied, the duel could be done. Now we do have Willow versus Juno. Willow being from Kulshan Hema, Juno from Seize the Boar again.
Again, we see Willow with that really presence and pressure against their opponent, taking control of the ring.
Really good blade presence, a really march forward strategy there. Juno, much lighter, much more in, out, in, out. Juno did suffer a wound there. Some probing shots, trying to find measure. Willow planting the tip. It looked like under the arm. Oh, but they're going to call that a double.
Okay. We have a fun exchange in the comments. Someone says, personally, I feel chess would be much more intriguing if it involved swords.
Oh,
Someone
and
responded.
we see Willow, we saw coming in with another Krumpau stance, playing that chess. But it looks like both struck at the same time. It is going to be a double. One more double, and this fight will end with both fighters taking a loss.
Which never feels good.
Never feels good. Willow marching forward, pausing.
Oh, I don't have a good view, but I heard a thwack.
It looked to me like a very quick strike to the top of the head. But they're going to call it to the arm. That was, what is that, a Shisen? That tap?
I wish I could tell you.
Some more quick exchanges here, taking no time. They've already felt each other out. They're ready to battle.
Yeah, we're in our second set of pools. Everyone's been fighting for over an hour. I imagine people are ready to wrap it up.
It is really hard to understand how exhausted you get in even just a few minutes of sparring or fighting, and how that compounds. The more exhausted you get, the more exhausted you are going to become as you continue to fight. Now we do see a victory for Willow on point differential. Really excellent fencing from Willow there, keeping the defense up. Now it is, some people have a strategy of, if you know you are going to get hit, take the double. I'm not saying that Willow did that, but it did help for the wound total that the only times they were hit were doubles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generally, it's considered to be maybe dishonorable fencing or something to that effect. You don't see a lot of people going intentionally for doubles. It does happen.
Iris is coming up with her 2 swords. So I'm curious which one she's going to start with.
And it will be Iris versus Ashley Levy from Masterless Fencing again. And these pools are definitely the hardest part, because you have 4, 5, 6 fights all in short sequence, very little rest in between. I mean, you can't really see it on camera, but you can see all of these folks sweating buckets underneath that heavy, hot gear.
Well, I'll say for you viewers, my poor co-commentator is smelling the the results of my pools. So yes, it gets sweaty and it gets hot and exhausting very quickly. I would absolutely agree.
Don't worry, it's not too smelly. The whole room is a little bit smelly, so it's pretty hard to differentiate. Now, we did see Ashley Levy getting a deep strike on Iris. Another quick exchange, wasting no time.
Yeah, I agree with one of our commentators. Getting doubled feels bad. Most people don't do it. even if it's advantageous. It does feel bad, and it's a little bit scary if you're like, I only got 2 left of these.
Iris going for the lone and chops, a quick hand strike into a head strike, defending in between. Honestly impressive how quick those blades can move.
Oh, tried a hand hit, didn't seem to land.
That looked to me like it was deflected by the hilt, but...
That's what I saw as well.
Oh, they're calling that a hit from Ashley. Interesting.
All right.
I love Iris going for those cheeky one-handed thrusts, really extending measure, going for the surprise.
Can I get it? Not this time.
No exchange there. Oh, a committed thrust seems to go past Ashley's head, passe, followed up with a middle howl from Ashley straight to the torso.
Okay. They're saying no agreement, no exchange.
No exchange because the judges did not see the afterblow. You hate to see it. As a fighter, that's incredibly demoralizing because you're just hoping to get those points down as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
The more no exchanges you have, the more bouts you're going to have to fight, and that exhaustion starts to kick in. Ashley doing a great job of defending here, keeping it even with Iris, who has so far been relatively dominant.
Oh. I saw a double or maybe a hit with an afterblow. It looks like the judges do not agree on what they saw.
No agreement, no exchange again.
Yeah, sometimes you get to this point in the match and you're like, I will take losing points if it means we can wrap this up because I am exhausted. Oh!
And you can see both fighters going on the offensive, hoping for some action on the scoreboard. And we do see it with Ashley suffering 1 wound. We're going to have the director call both fighters in for escalation, which is an increase in the force applied to the sword. Now, as we said, we saw both fighters go in for a purely offensive flurries. But what we don't want to see is that translate into more power and more injuries. Trying to keep it light, keep it breezy. No agreement, no exchange again. It's got to be.
Our time? How long has this match been? I would be exhausted.
This match has been going on for about 1 minute, 10 seconds.
My
Our
head,
timer's a little bit off. I saw a clean hit to the head there. I gotta say, it's really unfortunate. We're seeing the problem with multiple angles of judging here is that the judges are seeing different things, and you're getting a lot of no exchanges.
Do we think that's a double? Okay, director says a hit with afterblow.
We get some agreement from the judges. We see red getting a deep target, but blue getting an afterblow, so clawing back a little bit of those points. Both fighters have got to be at the edge of their gas tanks here. A very good strike from Iris, though. Ashley's down to 1 wound. Can they pull out just a little bit more?
Oh.
Doesn't look it.
Hit to the head from Iris. I didn't see an afterblow. Looks like the judges didn't either.
Yeah, that is going to be another win for Iris. You could see there the exhaustion setting in for Ashley. leading to a little bit of sloppier fencing. It happens to all of us.
Looks like we are maybe going to try and get one of these fighters in for an interview, but we're also going to hear an air horn in a second, so everyone cover your ears, I suppose. The whole gym is bracing for air horn. You can see Joe threatening a fighter with it. Oh. Yeah, no, this is just this pool. We still have our pool over in Bay 2. I'm a little confused at what's happening, but I'm sure all will become clear. I don't have any patience. I'm wondering if this is a commentary on power, and just saying like, hey, we saw some escalation.
Quick fighter briefing, then right into open meeting about
Looks like there's some just discussion between fighters, between Iris's corner and Ember, who are both from Lonan. I'm curious to hear what that was about. All right, we are going to go offline just to move into our next open tournament. So that is where we'll be moving next.